this was my original plan. The original plan has now shifted. How can I recontextualize? Right? It's that thing. It's kind of the quantum ogre, right? Do you know about the quantum ogre thing?
No.
Okay, so there's this is one of those things you'll see people talk about on like Reddit and shit or in videos or you know, it comes up in lots of different places. But the quantum ogre is the idea that when you're playing, I should specify first. The quantum ogre is framed as a negative, right? People often say it's a bad thing. I don't. I think they're being dumb, but just for the context, people often frame it negative. It's the idea that if the players have, you know, let's say 2 paths in front of them, right? Like, you know, the guard captain who gave them the mission is like, you can go, you know, east down the road, and then hook back around to get to the next town over, or you can try and cut straight through the forest, but, you know, I don't know what's going to be in the forest, so cutting through the forest may or may not be dangerous or whatever. And then you as the GM go, okay, regardless of if they pick the road or the forest, they're going to fight an ogre. That, like, an ogre's going to attack them.
Gotcha.
And the idea is that it is a quantum ogre because the ogre is in quantum superposition and does not exist until observed, right?
Got you. It's Schrodinger's ogre.
Kind of. Well, I think the phrase comes from the idea of like electron clouds, and that you can't
like quantum tunneling.
Yeah, like you can't set a position of the thing until you observe and interact with the thing. So the idea is like no matter which way they go, the ogre's gonna show up, and you as the GM are putting the ogre in that quantum superposition before anything else. Before they decide anything, you know you have a quantum superposition ogre in waiting. And people frame this as a negative thing because people who don't understand what the word railroading is, which is a lot of people, will say, oh, that's really bad railroading, because no matter what, you're not letting the players' actions influence anything, right? Like, you're not giving the players any agency, which of course is stupid, because you're giving the players agency of how they get there, which route they take, who they interact with, what abilities they want to use to cover the situation, right? You're giving them all these other things are left wide open, right? It's not like you said to them, if you go down the forest path, you must do this. And if you go down the dirt path, you must do that. Like, you're still leaving every other thing open on the table. So you're not railroading how they solve the problem or who they solve it with, or like any of the other usual options you would have. The only thing you're predetermining is there will be a fight, and the fight, actually, you're not even necessarily predetermining a fight, right? You're just predetermining ogre will appear. They might dodge the fight on the ogre depending on what game you're playing and what kind of tools they have, right? So it's not true. It's not really railroading. It's not railroading at all, because you're still letting them do pretty much whatever they want. The only thing it's what you're doing is prepping, right? You are as a GM doing your job and prepping an encounter, which is part of the game, and making sure you have an encounter ready to go. Now, the argument could be, oh, why didn't you prep 2 different encounters for the 2 different pathways? At which point you go, okay, yeah, I could do that, but that's the same scenario, just with 2 separate encounters instead of 1 encounter, right? You're still determining there's going to be encounter here or encounter here. You know, it's the same scenario.
I think on a lower level than that, it's, I'm a human being with responsibilities and a life.
Yes, yeah, that too. But like, if you're looking at it in a vacuum, the idea of, well, then you should prep 2 different encounters. Okay, so the forest, they encounter giant spiders. On the road, they encounter an ogre. I'm still predetermining encounter is happening in the forest or encounter is happening on the road, and I'm predetermining what it is. That's really, how is that any different than just deciding it's going to be an ogre in both places, right? Like, it's not. So that's the idea of the quantum ogre. Essentially, what's happened here is you are in a quantum ogre scenario where the attack on the planet is the ogre, right? It's happening. No matter what they do, it's going to happen. And the thing that's important to note here is you're still preserving verisimilitude, because the idea that the attack is going to happen no matter what is not breaking logic, right? Like, the players are like, well, we can warn people, but we know we can't get every single person off the planet, or we know that we can't stop the big robot, so it's going to happen. That follows the logic that you have established, in the same way that the ogre attacking them in the forest or on the road still preserves verisimilitude, because, last session or at the beginning of the campaign, you established that there's a lot of ogres wandering around in this area. So it makes sense that they would get attacked by an ogre, right? You're still preserving that internal logic, which is the most important part. So now, with your quantum planet exploding, your quantum planet destruction, now it's just a case.
My quantum spirit of mother will.
Yeah. That's too long to say. But like, now it's just a case of, okay, what is the outcome on the other side, and what are they doing beforehand? And we've pretty much already established what they did beforehand. And now what are they going to do on the other side? You don't really need to change that much. You just need to have the event happen and then respond to the prep that they did prior to the event. The only situation where you'd be like, really fucking it up would be if the players did a bunch of work to save a bunch of their NPC allies, right? Save a bunch of their teammates or whatever. And then after they did all that work, they all still die horribly because of X, Y, and Z reason. That's the only scenario that is a scenario you can't go with now. That's off the table, because that would just feel shitty at that point, because you're actively just like, LOL, get fucked, nerds. I don't care what work you did. It's just going to happen. That's actually railroading, right? Yeah.
So that was a thought that crossed my mind. It was one of the first ones, but it was also one of the first ones I had to throw out.
Yes.
Because
now
that would piss me off as a player.
Right. Now, granted, I'm saying that based on the context you've given me. If there's a reason in universe that it makes sense that they wouldn't be able to survive, like maybe some of the NPCs die because there's just not enough ships to get off the planet, right? And that was established in some fashion. Like, maybe another NPC was like, well, we could try to leave, but we got to be quick because there's not a lot of escape ships or whatever. Like something like that was established. Then it wouldn't feel as railroady and shitty, because you're establishing that information. And again, you're maintaining the verisimilitude. So again, that internal consistency and internal logic of the setting or the game is really, really important always, right? That's why that's that thing where if somebody is you're playing some sort of D&D-esque high fantasy nonsense, and the players get a job from the High Wizard Lord, and he's like, I need you to travel many moons far in the distance to acquire the ancient blade. And one of the player goes, didn't we establish this dude can like put portals wherever he wants? Can't he just portal us over there? Right? It's all about maintaining that internal consistency. Whatever that internal consistency is up to the game, but it doesn't need to make real life sense. It needs to make game sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
So killing the NPCs is pretty much off the table at this point. I don't know, maybe there's a couple of edge case scenarios where it still might make sense or something. That's up to you. I don't know, but that's pretty much off the table. So now you just got to go, okay, attack happens. What are the repercussions of the attack? If the repercussions are not the NPCs dying, then the repercussion has to be something else. What would that be? And what set of repercussions makes the most sense?